welcome to our first Friday framework. If you saw our top tip on Tuesday, you would have seen that we encourage you to look at all the ideas that you've already come across, or the frameworks that you've come across, and rather implement those than trying to go on course after course after course and accumulate more and more and more and more. So we thought we'd kind of dig out in the archives and just look back for some of the things that we've learned long time ago. And there was a book that was written ages ago called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Covey. And we thought we'd just kind of remind you of what those 7 habits are and just check in, maybe just check in to see which ones you would like to do more of so that you can be more effective. So the first habit is be proactive. We're in charge of how we react to situations. A reactive person would just kind of hands up, it happened to me, there's nothing I can do about it. Whereas a proactive person can take a situation and look at what you can do and how you can respond to it. In his book, in the chapter, one of the quotes is that it's our willing permission or our consent to what happens to us that hurts us far more than what happened to us in the first place. So we can choose how to respond to situations and be proactive. So do you need to be more proactive? The second habit is begin with the end in mind. If you've done work with painless practice, you'll know that we're really passionate about that. We're really passionate about really understanding what it is that you're wanting to achieve before you just start going and doing things. So really think about what is your vision? Where do you want to get to? It's very easy to get busy and to just busy yourself in day to day, week to week, month to month, and before you know it, a few years have gone by and you're kind of a little bit lost and not really going in the direction that you wish to go. So really sit down and think about what is the destination that you want to get to. And we love his quote that he has in his book in this chapter. He says, it's incredibly easy to get caught up in an activity trap, in the busyness of life, to work harder and harder, climbing the ladder of success, only to discover that it's leaning against the wrong wall. So make sure that your ladder is leaning against the right wall. The next habit is put first things first. And this is about really being disciplined to prioritize based on importance, not just urgency. And really acting according to your values, not your desires or impulses. So really having that discipline to be focused and stay on track, and also having the willpower to do the things that you don't really want to be doing. And in his book, he has a time management quadrant, where he divides the different areas into what's urgent and important. Those are kind of those things that have deadlines. So if you've got a tax return that you have to get in, well, that's urgent and important. You need to just get that done. So to me, that's just do it. You've then got the important but not urgent. And this is a quadrant that really needs a lot of attention, because when you spend time focusing on the things that are important, but they're not necessarily urgent, they don't have a deadline, you sometimes can reduce what's important and urgent. So as an example, what would be important and not urgent is putting processes in place for your clinic, or upgrading your practice management software system so that it's more efficient. Now, those things feel like they take time. You don't have time to do those things, but when you do put the time in to do those things, you suddenly you're more efficient. So you reduce the things that are urgent and important. And then the third quadrant is what is urgent but not important. And I always like to look at this in terms of, it might be urgent to be done, but it doesn't have to be done by you. So maybe it's urgent that cleaning gets done at the end of every day and in between patients. Now, maybe in between patients, the therapists are doing it, but maybe at the end of the day, someone else could be doing it. So it's important to be done. And it has a sense of urgency, but it's not important for you to be doing it. So in that quadrant, I suggest looking at what things you're currently doing that could be delegated. And then the last quadrant is the not urgent, not important. And with that quadrant, those are the things that you just know are complete time wasters, and you just catch yourself doing things that are completely, you just don't need to do them, ditch them. So spend time thinking about what are the things that you need to put first. Or do you need to actually just reprioritize how you're spending your day? The next habit is think win-win. And here you want to make sure that when you engage in other people's services, or you bring people on board with you, you maybe work jointly with a therapist, with a patient, You want to make sure that it is a win-win situation. So this is where you have abundant mentality, but you need high consideration and high courage in order for it to be win-win. So, you've got to really consider what it is that you need, and you've also got to have courage to say no to things. So to go for win-win, you not only have to be nice, you have to be courageous. An example that came up recently this week was just thinking about, am I in a win-win situation with having insurance patients? And the answer ended up being, well, actually, I need to take high consideration, because if I ditch the insurance company's patients, I'm going to, reduce my revenue for a period of time. But I need the high consideration to think about, do I ditch them? But I also have to have the high courage to do that. So if you have high courage and high consideration, you'll be in a win-win situation. The next habit is seek first to understand. Now, this habit, I think a lot of therapists absolutely, you know exactly how to do that. You listen empathetically, you diagnose a problem before you prescribe the solution, and you really have learnt to listen really deeply. And his quote in the book for this one was, you've spent years of your life learning how to read and write, years learning how to speak, but what about listening? So I know that you, as a clinician, have spent a lot of time learning to listen. My challenge to you would be, are you listening in the same way in other areas of your life, not just with your patient, but are you listening to your team members in the same way? Are you listening to the needs of your business in the same way? So seek first to understand. Then the next habit is synergise. So this is just really making sure that 1 + 1 = 3 or 4 or 5. So there's no point in you going into business with someone if your business plus their business equals your business plus their business. It doesn't actually make any difference. And I like to look at this in a value, joy, and profit scenario. So if you are bringing someone on board, if you're working alongside another practitioner with for a patient, are you increasing the value that you're giving your patient? Are you increasing the joy that you have in serving that patient? And are you increasing the profitability of that patient? And you might choose to have one of the things not there. So maybe it doesn't increase any profitability, but it gives you a massive amount of joy and you increase the value. And you could choose that in certain scenarios, but definitely in terms of business, you need to be able to give value to the patient. You need to be enjoying what you're doing, and you need to be profitable. So thinking about when you're going into partnership, or you're bringing another practitioner on board, or you're bringing a supplier on board, are those 3 elements going to be met? And then the last habit is sharpen the saw. This is all about renewing yourself. It's preserving your energy, making sure that you're in the best possible position to be able to help others. That might be in terms of enhancing your CPD. It might be looking after yourself personally. Are you getting enough sleep? Are you getting enough exercise? Are you taking enough time to relax? So you really need to think about yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially. Are you looking after yourself? And the quote that he puts in this chapter is, renewal is a process that empowers us to move along an upward spiral of growth and change, of continuous improvement. So those are the 7 habits of highly effective people. And I'm sure that you're master of some of them, and maybe you've not even thought of some of them. What I would encourage you to do is think about which 2 habits would serve you best, and have a go at implementing them and see what happens. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you found this useful. Every Friday, I will be posting a new framework for you to follow and hopefully implement into your practice and increase your success. Thank you so much.